What happens when you ignore an avoidant ex for 30 days? We're going to break this down into 4 different day groupings to understand what exactly is going to happen. The first is day 1 through 3, and this is typically where an avoidant is going to feel relief and a sense of ego protection. When we look at an avoidant, they are always trying to find ways to not have to feel any emotions that they don't want to, or feel vulnerable, or deal with any conflicts, because these things are very unpredictable and it causes them to essentially feel unwanted emotions and things. So they will do everything in their power to essentially not have that happen, which is why when you get close to them or make them feel uncomfortable, they will pull away from you. When you essentially ignore them, you are doing exactly what they want. So they're going to, of course, in that beginning initial phase, feel great. They are going to feel like you are finally doing the things that they want, and they know that they're not going to have to deal with anything because you are essentially ignoring them. So they're like, okay, cool, I'm fine here. This is my environment. This is what I wanted all along. I'm good. I can do my own thing. I can not have to deal with these things. Everything's fine in their books right here, which can be so very confusing and frustrating for you because you would think that by ignoring them, it would cause them to essentially start to think about things and wonder why you're not communicating to them. But this is again where their comfort zone is, and they take this as a positive thing rather than a negative thing. Now, day 4 through 10, this is where the calm turns into confusion, right? Because they now start to realize what's going on. They really start to see how you're not responding back to them or reaching out to them, which is not what they expect. They expect that you're going to want to try to work things out because you've been trying to do this up until this point. They are used to you always trying to do everything in your power to make things work out. So they expect that in a couple days or weeks that you're going to do that. But when you've consistently not done that, that's when they start to question things and they're confused because this is not typical to them and they don't really know how to address this. They want to try to reach out to you to see what's going on and essentially try to start to work things out or have some kind of communication to make them feel better emotionally that you're not just moving on. But there's that avoidant side of them that doesn't want to do that because they don't know how you're going to respond, and they don't want you to either essentially not respond to them, which is something that they feel as a rejection, or you are essentially going to try to deal with some kind of conflict that you guys are going through to obviously work things out. And again, they don't want to deal with that as well. So they get confused and they're kind of in this limbo stage where they really don't know which way they want to go. Now, day 11 through 20 is where the reflection starts to kick in and there's some micro spikes of regret that starts to come up for them. This is where they start to miss you a little bit in some way or some form because they're not used to this, right? Even though they pull away and they are essentially wanting the space that they're saying, there's a part of them that does want to be with you and sees the value of you in the relationship. And when they don't have access for you for that long consistently, they really start to miss you and they start to have moments where they regret not having you there because they enjoy you being there, right? So this could be an area in which the avoidant may try to reach out to you to gain some of that back. They may try to either even meet you in some places to see what's going on, because no matter how much that avoidant side kicks in, there are a lot of times where they can't help but to feel that way because, again, there's a part of them that does care about you and wants to be in the relationship. They just continuously allow this avoidant attachment style to get in the way of things and not allow you guys to just have a normal connection to where you guys are working on things normally and trying to just have an experience that's real and authentic, which is going to include you guys being vulnerable and opening up and all the different things that you would expect in a healthy relationship. But that's essentially what you would see in this particular stage. Now, day 21 through 30 is where one of two things is going to happen. Now, the first thing that could happen is that they have anxiety and fear of losing you, which is essentially them realizing the magnitude of losing you, right? This is where they start to realize their role in essentially why this relationship isn't working. And this is where that reflection starts to kick in a little bit more. and they realize that their love for you is greater than their avoidant attachment style. It doesn't mean that that avoidance attachment style is just dissolved. It just means that they want to really be in a relationship with you, and they start to push aside that, and they have this anxiety come up because they know that you are the best thing to happen to them, right? You've done all these amazing things to be the best partner that you possibly could be for them. You've supported them in so many ways, in so many forms, and this is where they start to realize all of that, and they can really start to make some sort of changes towards themselves and actually wanting to try to make things work out with you. Now, the second option, which is typically what you see happening here, and that is they go back right into their avoidant attachment ways. What this essentially is them telling themselves this story again, or facade, as to why being an avoidant is actually a good thing for them, and that they don't need you and they can find somebody else, and all these different things, whatever that might be, that causes them to justify why being an avoidant is actually a good thing and why they continue it, right? We have to understand that an avoidant is this way because when they were younger, their caregivers did not meet their emotional needs. So throughout all that time up until now, they've built this fortress, which is this avoidant attachment style, to protect themselves to constantly be this way. So it's like any strong defense mechanism in the world, in that it will trigger itself and cause them to have all of these different things to maintain this. Even if they realize it's a negative thing, their mind has really convinced themselves that they need to be this way as a sense of safety, because that's what it is to them, right? They are protecting their vulnerability, they're protecting themselves from feeling unwanted emotions, and so they're going to continuously do that. And what you tend to see only really being able to combat this is really for them to seek professional help through a therapist to try to work through this. And that's going to take some time, energy, and effort to untangle all of that. So I know that you came to this video to essentially try to see if this could happen, which it can happen in 30 days. I'm not saying that every avoidant is the same exact way, but what we have to understand is that most of the time, this is the reality of what's going to happen. And it's why you really need to sit back and consider what is best for you. What do you need to do in this moment that is going to put yourself first and not essentially lead you to prolonging the inevitable? And typically what that is that you need to focus on yourself and figuring out what you need to do to move on from this person. You have done everything in your power to make this relationship work. They were the ones that was not allowing this to happen because they were allowing this avoidant attachment style to get in their way. That is their problem now, and they need to focus on that. You can't focus on that anymore, but what you need to focus on is yourself and your own mental health. And the first and best step for you to do this here is to go no contact with them. I know that this is going to be way easier said than done, but it is so imperative that you do this because it is now about you and figuring out what is best for you to heal from this. Because when you do, at the right time and place, when you're ready, you will find somebody else who will love and care for you the way that you want. But right now, you need to be that person to yourself. And it starts here right now in deciding that you are going to put yourself first. I hope you did enjoy today's video. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.